Hey guys, Jim Jacobus here with A Players Only and Order Taker Gladiator webinars. Welcome to this week's webinar. It's good to have you guys here. I'm really looking forward to our material today, the stuff we're going to be covering. I'm going to confess to you that as we've looked at all the things that we could be doing, all the things we could be talking about, I'm kind of testing a few different things here in the first like 4 webinars that we had, and kind of seeing what people really kind of latch on to and how can we be most value. So I hope if we're not covering the stuff that you want to, let me know what you'd like to cover. Let me know the kinds of stuff that would be valuable to you, and we'll try to get on some of that for you. Let's do our regular weekly check-in. I always like to find out where everybody's coming from and kind of get you familiar with the tools there in front of you. Down there in that navigation pane, or that pane that you have on your screen right now, there's a place where you can ask questions. So do me a favor, type in there where you're at today, where you're coming from, and let me just kind of see where folks are. It's always kind of fun to me, see where everybody's at. Oh, we got somebody in Illinois already. Awesome. Okay, let's see what Denver, Colorado, Sugar Land, Texas. Woohoo! Yeah, right here in the backyard. Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. Awesome. Okay. Wait a minute. Let's see what this is. David Carter, Sugar Land, Texas, by way of Vincennes, Indiana. David, I take you're out of town right now. Awesome, brother. Calgary, Dallas, Texas. Here we go. Back from Australia again. Thanks for checking in with us. The internet is amazing, isn't it? Well, anyway, glad you guys are with us, and I want you to familiarize you with that pane down there. If you've got a question during our time together, go ahead and hit that thing. Let us know what's going on, ask questions, and I'll try to answer as many of those as I can during our time together today. Again, I'm going to put this up there. We've got a lot of new people joining. We're at over 250 people registered for the webinars now, and we don't have that many people sign up every time, or actually come to the live event, but we do have that many people getting the recordings of the event. And I'm going to tell you what, I've been doing webinars for a long, long time. I like it when you're here live. I like it when you're here asking questions. Makes the webinar go a lot better. But we really just want to make sure we get that info out to you and that you can use it. So if you can't make it, if you're not able to make it to the webinar, no big deal. We're just glad to have you here with us in the first place. So this is the Order Taker Gladiator webinar series. We'll be doing 2 of these a month all year long. We always record them. Okay, we record these things, so again, if you can't make it, no big deal. You're going to get them anyway. I do attach the PowerPoint slides to the file where you go to listen to or download. We allow you to download the recording. Somebody emailed me the other day that is one of my speaker buddies and said, "Aren't you afraid people are going to steal your stuff?" And I said, actually, I'd be thrilled to death if they did. I would be flattered if anybody stole it. And good buddy of mine, Steve Gardner at 5 Star Speakers and Trainers, and I have always kind of shared the same idea. The guys with the Grateful Dead allowed people to bring recorders into their concerts and things like that, and never worried about pirating and everything. And they were one of the most popular folks ever on the tour, doing concerts and things like that, because they just liked their brand. They didn't worry about people stealing stuff, and I'm not going to worry about it either. So we'll provide the slides for you. You're welcome to take these back and share them with your sales force. If you're a manager, share them with friends. We're glad for you to do that. We keep putting this slide up, says we're going to provide other resources for you, and you'll see that start kicking in here this week. We'll put articles up there. I'm going to link you to people's blogs that I really like, stuff like that, so that you can get more value from a lot of other really bright people that I know of in sales that can help you. So as always, you can follow us on Facebook. All you got to do is go search for Order Taker Gladiator. You can follow me on Twitter at Jim Jacobus, or you can go to the blog, which is actually where all of the past webinars reside. You can go check out any webinar you want to that we've done at ottgwebinars.wordpress.com. And you can subscribe, like us on Facebook, and you'll always get the information. Follow us on Twitter. I always tweet the stuff out. And you can also hit the blog. Whatever's easiest for you, we want to make it easy. Want to make it nice and simple. So, and we ask you, share it with others. You know, encourage other people to come join us. I think a lot of the growth that we're getting from week to week is because you guys are doing a great job of sharing the information with other people. So let's jump into this particular one. And as always, we're going to start off with a poll here. And I've got 2 polls that we're going to look at today. And so I'm going to launch the first one here, and it's a real simple question, and it is, what is more important to success in sales, all right? Who we are at the core, or what we know how to do at a skill level. So I'm going to launch that. There it is. It should have popped up for you right now. So think about it. What's more important, who we are at the core or what skills we know? And I just kind of want to see where you guys are coming from, because we obviously have a position on this, and I want to kind of talk about that today, and you guys are just messing up my entire deal here. I'm looking at these numbers popping up. We've got about 80% voted there. We're 30 seconds into it. I'm going to give us just 5 more seconds, and we're almost at 100%. Somebody changed their vote. All right, it went from 1% back down to another. Somebody changed their vote. Well, anyway, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to close that poll. And interesting here, 83% of you said that it's who we are at the core, and 17% said it's what we know how to do at a skill level. And as we go through our time together today, I think all of these things are important, but I do think one is more important than the other. And before we get through today, I think it'll be really clear that, where I'm coming from on this. And certainly you don't have to agree with me by any means. People disagree with me all the time. That's not out of the ordinary. So feel free as we go through this to challenge this whole concept. So what we're going to talk about to start our day off today after the poll now is what we call the success equation. And I learned this a long time ago. I wish I had come up with it myself, but I use it all the time. It's what we call the be, do, have equation. In other words, to have the success we want as a salesperson, to have the success we want to have in life as a manager, to have the success we want in life from a business point of view, but even further, to have the kind of success that we want in life as a mom or dad or just as a human being. This equation applies. In other words, we have to be the right person at a core level. In other words, that's what we're going to kind of focus on today. But then we have to do the right things on an external level in order to have the success that we want. And a lot of the coaching that I do, a lot of the sales coaching and executive level coaching that I do, if people aren't having the success that they want in life, well, I start using this equation. I'm trying to figure out, are they at the core the right person to be successful, and are they doing the right things externally to be successful? And so, again, I think that's a really good equation we can measure ourselves by. And today we're going to focus in on part of that. But when we talk about what does it take to be successful in sales, our base program is called A Players Only, What It Takes to Live at the Top. And when a client tells me they want to do sales training, or they're asking us about sales training, I had a client last week said, so what do you do? All right, if you're doing sales training, what do you do? Well, first thing is I always tell them all of our training is customized. We do it based upon what the customer is looking for, but it's always within this framework that I'm going to share with you. Okay, here's 4 things that we think are really critical in order to be successful in sales. All right, first thing is you have to execute a consistent process. And first thing I tell you is I am not a process guy. I'm a people guy. All right, I do really well at establishing relationships, getting people to trust me, things like that. But I learned a long time ago that if I didn't execute a consistent, proven process, all right, then all of my people skills were being wasted. And so we teach a process. It's really plain: planning, prospecting, first impressions, qualifying, demonstrating, influencing, closing, and follow-up. All right, now different sales people call them different things, but in essence, we're all talking about the same stuff. We put different language to it. One thing I do like is we have a tool that assesses skills in these different areas that we can use to find out where an individual or an organization is. But bottom line is, if we're going to be successful, we've got to execute a consistent process. And during our time together this year, I'll dive into some of the process stuff. It tends to not be the most popular thing that we do, but I can tell you it's really valuable. And I always ask the question, if you think about those things I just talked about: planning, prospecting, first impressions, qualifying, demonstrating, influencing, closing, and follow-up. If we leave any one of those out, if we don't master all 8 of those steps, then our success is going to be jeopardized. It's going to be limited. It'll be minimized. So the process is really important. Now, my favorite thing to teach is how do you build level 5 trusted advisor relationships. And we've already had one webinar on that, and we'll be doing some more. You guys sent me some great questions via the blog and via Facebook about how do we do level 5 trusted advisor relationships, how do we move them from level 3 to 4 and so on, right after that last webinar that we did on that. And so we're going to talk some more about it. I love teaching relationship selling. We have an entire course around how do you sell based upon behaviors, knowing what your own behavior is and knowing what the client's behavior is and how do you adjust accordingly. We love teaching that stuff. So we're going to do some of that during our time together this year. And then the third thing, which I think takes most of our clients by surprise, is what we call value proposition selling. And it's simply issue, action, impact. What's the problem? What do we do about it? And why should the client care? At the end of the day, why should they care? And a lot of times we've been taught, and I've been taught, most of you probably been taught, that we sell the benefits of the product. We don't sell the features of the product. We sell how that benefits the customer, how that benefits our client. And value proposition selling takes that a step further. Most of us know what the problem is that clients have. Most of us know what our product or service does that solves that problem. But my experience has been most sales reps aren't as completely versed, or they are not masters of the different return on investments that clients get. What's the impact? And today more than ever, people are buying based upon economic impact, return on investment. In other words, if I'm going to invest $100 with you, how much money am I going to get back? Well, you know, we've always gone, well, you get a lot back. We've got to do a better job of that. And so we're going to be doing some talking about value proposition selling. And we have company value propositions, or corporate value propositions, if you will. We have product and service value propositions. But the most important proposition that a customer wants to know, or a potential client wants to know, what's our personal value proposition? Are you the most knowledgeable rep on the planet? Are you the hardest working rep on the planet? Are you a great solution provider? What's your personal value proposition? In other words, why should they buy from you instead of a competitor? And not from the company or product standpoint, but you personally. And once we get clear about what our own personal value proposition is, then we have that tool to help us communicate to clients why they should be level 5 trusted advisors status with us. But if we don't really understand what our own personal value is, it's hard to get somebody to follow us. Does that make sense? Can I get an amen from somebody out there that those three things make sense before we move on? Or you can actually put, I don't have a clue what you're talking about, if you want to. All right, I got a Yahoo, I got an amen, I got a you don't have a clue. That's true. If you guys only knew how true that was, okay? All right, let me clear all these questions out so that when they pop up, I'll be right on top of them here. And I'm going to hit this fourth piece, which is what we're going to focus in on today. All right, cool. Awesome. You guys are the best. I appreciate that. Now, here's the fourth piece, all right? The first three in our be, do, have equation, the first three are do's. They're what we need to do, things we need to master on an external level to be successful. Our fourth one here is the be part of the equation, and we call that, oops, sorry, hit the wrong thing there. We call that being an A player. And that's what we're going to focus on today. What does it take to be an A player, to be the best of the best at a core level? All right, so when we talk about what it takes to live at the top, or what it takes to be an A player, we use this iceberg analogy. And if you're familiar with an iceberg, somewhere between 12 and 18% of it is above the waterline. The rest of that is below the waterline. And when it comes to looking at these three things that we focus in on from a B point of view, we're going to use this iceberg. Now, let me give it a little background. I put it in the blog, and I put it in kind of the teaser blurb and all that about this particular session that we're doing today. We have been assessing salespeople for the better part of my career. I grew up on Myers-Briggs. I've done DISC, Caliper, Berkman, Predictive Index. I've seen pretty much every system out there. We have been using the system from Target Training International, TTI now, for quite some time. There are a lot of reasons why I think it's the best. Not here to argue the virtues of TTI. All I'd say is we've looked at them all, and I tend to think it's the best system on the planet for getting good results. And we have assessed probably, I think around 20,000. I know that we're well over that number. We probably assessed 25,000 salespeople in the last 20 years. And we have done performance benchmarks for the position well into numbers that, again, you guys think I'm crazy if I told you. Let's just suffice. We've done a lot of benchmarks, all right? Probably as many, if not more, than anybody else on the planet, and surveying the best of the best to find out what they had inside. And the three things that we survey are the behaviors, what we call workplace motivators, and core skills and core competencies. Now, do me a favor, just on the deal there, you've got a little thing on your dashboard where you can raise your hand. All right, do me a favor, raise your hand if you've had a behavioral assessment before, some kind of personality assessment or behavioral assessment. Okay, I got hands going up all over the place here. Okay, yeah, almost everybody. Okay, some folks aren't raising their hand because they are actually not watching the webinar, maybe just listening to it or just hanging out. I don't know. By the way, when you guys aren't looking at the screen I'm looking at, I know. It puts a little sign up there and tells me. So you hurt my feelings when you do that, but I can handle it. So, okay, well, most of you had a behavioral assessment. And again, my first behavioral assessment was Myers-Briggs back in the mid-'70s. I think they are awesome tools, all right? But I will say this, okay, and I have clients argue with me all the time about this, and I'm fine. I don't mind having a conversation about it. But behaviors do not, cannot, will not, have not, are never going to predict performance in somebody. It's not going to happen. They don't predict performance. It's just, they just don't. And I'll have people that, that live and swear and, die by, Caliper and Predictive Index and DISC and you name all those things. And they're all great tools, but they don't predict performance. And I'll give you a good example, all right? I'm a real high D, real high I, probably higher than you've ever seen on the DISC profile. All right, it measures DISC, and I'm a 99D and a 98I. So if you're familiar with DISC out there right now, you're going, oh, my soul. Hope Jim lives to be another year old because of that profile. But anyway, that means that I tend to make decisions head on. I make them quick. I'm a risk taker, but I'm also a people person. I have a lot of verbal skills, and I talk a lot, and I can make connections with people really fast. And a lot of people go, I want high D, high I salespeople. And I go, why? What? Tell me why you want that from a personality standpoint. And they'll say, well, because they make decisions quick, they're fast to do this, they're risk takers and everything. And I'll just stop right there and go, okay, so you like the fact that a high D is quick to make decisions? And they go, yes. And I go, what if they're not good at making decisions? All right, what if they're a bad decision maker? What if they lack integrity or character? So they're making a lot of decisions with poor character as a background for it all. All right, they're making a lot of decisions really fast, and they're not a good decision maker in the first place. Okay, so the behaviors don't predict performance, and they're not going to, never have, and never will. I always tell people, I said, you give me your 3 or 4 best people, give me your 3 or 4 worst people, I'll assess all of them, and I can show you that they basically all have the same personality style, and that none of those personalities predict performance. So anyway, but we do measure that, and it's good to know from a communication standpoint and team building and a lot of other areas, okay? Now, the second thing we measure, and a little bit below the waterline, not as easy to observe as behaviors are. Behaviors are what we observe in other people above the waterline. What we call workplace motivators. We measure 6 of those. And I'm not going to take time to go through them. We'll do it maybe another webinar down the road. But we measure 6 of them, and the 90% of top salespeople have the same 2, either 1-2 or 2-1. And those are the desire for power and control and the desire for money. Now, if you're not one of those people that desires control, you don't desire money, that's not one of your motivators, there's 10% that don't have those that are still top salespeople, but 90% of them do. And so it is enough of a predictor to at least be aware of. But bottom line is as a manager, if I know what motivates you, I can help you get more of it. You'll run through a brick wall for me. But most of us as managers, what we do is we motivate other people with what we think is cool. And there's a good part of them. They don't, care what what motivates us. They care about what motivates them. So I teach sales managers all the time. Find out what motivates the employee, help them get more of it, and they'll run through a brick wall for you. Now, the third piece is the base there, the bottom of the iceberg, and what we call core skills and core competencies. It's what everything else rests upon. It's what they rest on top of, all right? And what I tell our clients all the time is, if you'll get this one right, if you'll get the core skills and core competencies right when you're hiring and developing, training salespeople, if you'll get that right, you can forget the rest of it. You can forget behaviors, you can forget motivators if we get this part right. Now, in the next few minutes, I'm going to share those with you, and we're going to have some fun with it, and I'm going to ask you when it's all said and done, if indeed we got those right, how good will we be? And I want your input. I want you to tell me if you believe what we've been teaching all these years to be true. And I want your honest feedback. So we measure 23 core skills and core competencies. All right, and here they are. Okay, there's 23 core skills and core competencies listed there. We measure all of those. Now, do me a favor. In your little question pane, type in which one of these you think is the most important. All right, which one do you think is the most important core skill from this list in order to be successful in sales? Okay, that'd be now. All right, I know you guys are probably looking over. I all the time, people go, man, how do you pick from this list? That's a good list. I go, yes, it is. As a matter of fact, I know that to be true. That's a very good list. All right, let me see what you guys are putting up here. Okay. All right, customer focus, continuous learning. That's number 19. All right. Personal accountability, interpersonal skills. To move the pane to see what number 19 is. Objective listening. Okay, good. Scroll down a few more. All right, self-management. All right, good. It's pretty much what happens in our workshops. Goal achievement popped up there. Accountability for others. J.O., I would expect that coming from you, brother, as a guy who does team coaching and helps teams get better. No surprise there. Okay. Now, when we do that at a workshop, that's about what happens, all right? And what we got there is we got 10 different answers. And that's not surprising because we all have a different idea of what it takes to be the best of the best. And I tell people, first thing is I could make an argument for any of these things on the list in the right sales job. And I've seen pretty much everything on the list pop up in a sales job. But we tend to type in something that we're biased towards. And again, I'm using J.O. Dravis as a example there. He typed in accountability for others, and coming from a guy who's one of the preeminent coaches on the planet when it comes to coaching teams and things like that, I would expect because of his bias that he would put something like that. And it tends to be something that we're pretty good at. It's sort of counterintuitive to say, well, I'm really good at planning and organizing. I believe planning and organizing is number one, but I'm not any good at it, all right? We tend to put stuff up there that we're good at, so it comes from a bias. What I tell our clients all the time is if we were able to do a benchmark of your top performers and find out truly what they all had in common, that would be a lot more valid place to start when it came to identifying what core skills are more important than others. Now, when we do the assessment, we do the benchmark, we identify 7 core skills from this list of 23, okay? Now, what we have found through the years is out of the 7 that continuously pop up, there are 5 that pop up more often than others. We call those the big 5. Now, when I talked about this particular webinar, I said 5 things that we've got to have to be successful in sales. These are the 5 things that I believe are critical, and I'm going to share those with you here in just a second. Now, if your number one's not on that list, I wouldn't tell you to get rid of it. I'd say let's start with these 5 and add yours to it. Let's go from there. How's that sound? Okay, so here's the list of the 5 that we found through the years are the most important. Okay? Continuous learning, personal accountability, resiliency, results orientation, self-management. Those are the 5 that we have learned through the years of doing literally thousands and thousands of assessments and hundreds of job benchmarks. We have found that these 5 are the most important. And I'm going to give you the order of importance because I think that's important. That's critical as well. In sales, the number one core skill for outstanding sales performance is resiliency. That's the number one core skill. From all the benchmarks we've done and all the best of the best, they have high levels of resiliency. In other words, they bounce back from adversity faster than everybody else does. And I teach salespeople or sales managers all the time. You hire a sales rep with low levels of resiliency, you're committing management malpractice because they will struggle to be average at best. They'll struggle to be average. The average and below average sales reps, something goes wrong, they'll spend half a day in a deli trying to find out if they're going to figure out if they're going to go back to work or not. The best of the best, something goes wrong, they simply go next, next. You know, somebody says no, they go next. Somebody doesn't keep an appointment, they're next. All right, they just bounce back and move right on to the next thing. And consequently, they've got so much going on that if something goes wrong, they've got 10 other deals in the air, so it doesn't matter. That average performer has 1 or 2 deals in the air, and if one of them goes south or one appointment doesn't happen, that's half of their potential productivity for the day, and they're lost. Okay, so resiliency is number 1. Personal accountability is number 2. Now, personal accountability is I do what I say I'm going to do because I said I would. These are the men and women who do what's right because they don't know any other way to do it. The only way they know how to do things is with character and integrity, and their word is their word, and they're going to do everything they can to make things happen, and they do that consistently. All right. Now, when you look at all the benchmark we've ever done, this is actually number 1 across the board, but it's number 2 in sales because resiliency is so critical. So again, we've got to have personal accountability in order to be successful as a sales professional. The third one is continuous learning. The best of the best are doing what you guys are doing right now, which is invest in constantly getting better. And one of the things I know is on these calls, on these webinars, when you choose to take time out of your day and come to these things, that already tells me that you're a step ahead of other people. And I would challenge you to continue to do that. They're always getting better, always growing, always learning. Self-management is number 4. And we'll talk about that during some of our upcoming webinars. Self-management is it's an indicator that you run your territory like it was your own business. Now, I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs on the calls. You are running small businesses and everything. But if you're a pure sales rep, if that's what you do, or you're a sales manager, the best sales reps run their territory like it's a business. They're constantly making decisions about return on investment. They look at the company they work for as a partner that provides a desk and support and products and services, but they look at their territory like they're running a small business. And we know that self-management is really critical to being successful, and the last one is results orientation. In other words, the best of the best are always focused on results. Now, if we put goal achievement in there, that tends to wind up, in about the same category. Goal achievement is kind of the broad picture, if you will. Results orientation is that smaller stepping stone, piece by piece, always looking for the win, always looking for the result, always looking for success and everything. The best of the best share that. So here's my question, all right? And again, I want you to use your little question there, Dale, to answer it, all right? If we could master all 5 of these, and I know people that do, all right? If we could master all 5 of these, would we be a gladiator or would we be an order taker? Would we be successful or would we be a failure? And if you want to type in there, how successful do you think we would be if we simply mastered all 5 of these? And you guys are beginning to type in stuff. All right, gladiator, gladiator, best of the best, top gladiator, absolutely. Okay, best of the best, you bet. Very successful, you bet. The big G, all right, I haven't used that one yet. Top 10%, top 10%, A player. There we go, highly successful. All right, Gladiator potential would be released. Absolutely. All right, sorry, I almost said amen there. I might offend somebody, sorry. I asked for an amen earlier though, didn't I? Anyway, so we're all on the same page here. And again, I'll make the point. You're welcome to email me, call me, text me, Twitter me, tweet me if you want to, whatever you want to do. And by the way, if you're on Twitter and I send this stuff out, retweet this stuff, okay? Say, hey, just great webinar stuff. You ought to sign up and retweet that for me. There's an unashamed self-promotion there. But anyway, if we mastered these, we would then master the sales process. We would then become masters of level 5 relationships. We would then become masters of value proposition selling, or some form of those three. It wouldn't have to be our particular bent on it, if you will. But we would also, behaviors would become unimportant and motivators would become secondary to mastering these core skills. So if we have these 5, we will be the best of the best. If we do not possess one or more of these 5, then the subtitle said we're toast. All right, we're toast without any one of these 5. So one last poll here. I actually said I'm going to do 2 polls today, and I'm going to ask you the question. All right, and I want you to be honest with yourself here. Okay, I want you to be honest with yourself. All right, let me figure out how to launch the poll again. All right, manage polls. All right. Oh, wait a minute. That's not what I wanted. Get back over here. Sorry. Oop. Yeah, I'm a dork sometimes, okay? All right. Now, here's where I want you to be really honest with yourself. Of these 5 core skills, all right, of these 5 core skills, which one do you feel like you need to work hardest on? Okay, which one would help you become more effective? And I'm going to ask you to be really honest with yourself, and I'm going to challenge you to focus in on how do you become more effective at those, okay? Getting a few votes coming in here. Okay, good. Oh, thank you. Somebody said this is really encouraging. Okay. Still on the poll here. All right. Getting almost 100%. Come on, one more vote. We're at 100%. Who's holding back on us out there? All right. I'm not going to shame anybody into doing it. Okay. I'm going to close this in 5 seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. And I'm going to share this with you guys. Okay. In order you've been able to look at it. And 62% of you said resiliency. 8% said personal accountability. 15% continuous learning. 8% self-management. 8% results orientation. I'm going to challenge you guys. Look at that one thing that you came up with. Look at all 5 of them, quite frankly, and challenge yourself to be the best of the best. Okay? All right. Questions to wrap up our time together? See if we've got any questions here. Can you check every box? No, I didn't allow that, Larry. I just asked which one's the most important. But thanks for your transparency. We all need to work on all of those. So any questions before we wrap up our time today? Anybody at all? No? Okay. Good question here. All right. I'll tap on this real quick. How does anyone actually develop resiliency? And Bill, that's a great question. Of those 5 things that we talked about, resiliency and personal accountability are really hard to teach. They both tend to come from a much deeper level than just sales training. It tends to come from a history of being told you're not capable, you're not able, and sort of just a lot of stuff goes into that. How we do develop higher levels of resiliency is to, one, be aware of the fact that resiliency is important, being aware of the fact that when things go wrong, we don't bounce back as quick and we need to. So awareness is a big piece. The one thing that we work hard on teaching about resiliency is people that are highly resilient do a good job of framing things in life. And what we mean by that is if something goes wrong, they keep it in proper perspective. All right. And like I said a while ago, if you're Marcus Brock, who's on this call, who I know is a really successful sales guy, and you've got 6 appointments today or 7 appointments today, and one of them cancels, that's 1 out of 7. All right. And so you're going next. All right. Next. Or you pick up the phone and you call somebody and go, hey, I didn't think I was going to be able to see you today, but now I've got time. All right. If you're somebody that's an average salesperson, that's 1 out of 2 or maybe 1 out of 1 today. That's a much bigger part of your day. And so it's about framing it and keeping it in perspective. And it's also about if somebody cancels an appointment, that's part of the deal. All right. If we're in sales, that's part of the deal. And we go, okay, part of the deal. Next. So it's about keeping things in their proper perspective and putting the proper weight on them based upon their real importance to our success. And again, we could spend an hour on that alone, but that is the key to it, is keeping things in proper perspective. So great question. I appreciate that. Personal accounting is also one of them as well. Yeah, it's about beliefs. Not taking it personal. That's an absolutely great input there, Bill. There's a lot that goes into it. So anyway, somebody that I know typed in here, I'm extremely excited to be a part in starting my continuous learning today. I want to be a gladiator in 2012, and the person that wrote this is already a gladiator. There's going to be a superstar gladiator. So I'm glad to have you on here too, brother. And do I know of an assessment that measures resiliency? Absolutely. One of the things that I love doing in workshops is we're teaching this stuff, and I have managers all the time look at me and go, you can measure this stuff? And our answer is, you bet we can. Absolutely we can. And so if you're interested in that, shoot me an email. I'll let you try them out. I sell more assessments by just letting people try them out than any other way. Or if you just want to use it to find out where you're at, all right, let me know. I'll make them available to you, and we'll have a good time with that. So, all right, guys. Well, again, I always want to make sure we try to keep this thing to a reasonable time frame, and not done as good a job the last couple of weeks. We're actually coming in at 140. So anyway, just want to tell you how much I appreciate you, how much fun it is to be able to do these calls with you guys, and you know, really enjoy learning together all this stuff. So I'm trying to find here real quick. All right. My son said, you need to use some more modern music on the call there, some what we call young gun music. So I'm going to leave you with a little bit more of that song we started with a while ago. So I hope you guys have a great week, and if I can help you anyway, let me know.